I forgot. I forgot you got to record it though on
I got it
Zoom.
on
I don't.
Zoom. Yeah, I
It
got
doesn't
that.
say it. It
All
doesn't
right,
say
what do you?
recording. Oh,
Recording in progress.
okay, there it is.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the BAM Sports Show. It is Tuesday, June 28th, and as you will see on YouTube, we've got a full fucking house this evening. What up, boys?
What's
So,
up?
What's up,
We
man?
got Rob is back from the dead. Rick is joining us from his phone in Maryland on a work trip, and good old Ryan's getting high.
No, I'm not. Never done that before, ever.
Not well. You don't. I guess you don't have to get high if you stay higher.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
What's up, boys?
Just getting
Not a whole
high.
lot, man.
Yeah, just
I'm
got
not
back from
doing that.
Florida.
I just
Yeah, with
left
the
Florida.
vid.
Yeah, came back with that. Got sick, so I'm just happy to be back.
He's just here so he
Yeah,
doesn't get
that's-
fined.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
just here so he doesn't get fined.
We're talking about practice.
Practice.
Rob texted me and was like, "Hey, I'm back on Tuesday. I promise. I'm good. You're fine, man. Real life happens. Like shit."
You can only miss so many shows before you get fined if
I
you're
know.
a damn sports show.
I was
It's
at the
true.
fucking limit at least.
Yeah, but you were getting there. You were getting close. I mean, we weren't talking like Deshaun Watson level yet. More like Kareem Hunt.
I was still doing
Ah.
stuff behind the scenes on Twitter and stuff, so I was
What
trying.
you're saying is Rob is actually a very worthy punter.
Yes. Yeah. Teams out there looking for a kicker, give my boy Rob a call. So, I mean, shit, it's been a while. We've got some stuff to talk about. NBA free agency starts, what, at midnight? Is that right? So, does that still happen at midnight?
I believe so.
I
So
think.
that's coming up here in the
I think
next
it's-
couple hours?
Is it
It's like
midnight
3 in the
tonight or is
morning.
it Thursday?
I don't,
I thought it was midnight tonight. I thought it went live Wednesday.
I'm on a computer. I'll just look it up.
And because we are mostly a Chicago-based show, we are going to go ahead and point out the fact that Zach Levine is supposed to meet with Bulls management within seconds of free agency.
Thursday.
opening, so it's not tonight, it's tomorrow night.
Yep.
All right. Well, so we got 24 hours to wait, but that's still free agency for NBA is always kind of crazy, right? Like all that shit happens like 2 o'clock in the morning. You wake up with a notification.
Yeah. I
see
think.
some trades and stuff.
I think Adrian Wojcinski or whatever his name is probably getting a bunch of sleep banked right now, so he can be ready
Yeah.
for the tweet storm, the Woj bombs.
Yep.
And then we had a baseball trade, so hopefully we'll start getting into some baseball movement here.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think we're still probably 2 weeks away, right?
Probably. I mean, they moved the trade deadline back a few days. So it's not
That's true.
July 31st, it's like August 3rd or something like that.
That's true. So our team, Ryan, is unfortunately I'm gonna put
Big
this way,
buyers,
dog-
right? Big
we're
buyers.
we're dog shit. But the
Oh.
two other guys here on the show, their teams are, well, still dog shit. I guess.
Also dog shit.
But-
It's just
but
all
But in a
dog shit.
better,
Quite
but in a
as dog
better
shit.
position than we are, I guess.
Now, actually, man, I never thought I'd be happy about the draft coming this year. Like, it's sad.
You guys
I'm
gonna
looking
draft
forward
a
to
new
the draft now.
manager?
Dude, if we can, we would.
No, you wouldn't. You should, but you
It
wouldn't.
just
Yeah.
sucks. It sucks, man. Like, I keep banging the drum on. It's so sad to watch like Tony La Russa these days. Just the guy desperately needs to be put out to pasture.
He's
All
fucking-
the fondness that I have for him, for being the St. Louis guy, for so long. It's just painful to watch. The analogy I keep making is it's like watching how they kept signing BJ Penn to fights, long after he should have retired. It's like that.
Yep.
It's just sad.
He's entering in Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino category, like stage now. He just looks
Well, hold up.
grumpy and old, and probably
Yeah.
has a bunch
that's
of
fair.
racial epithets up in the big noggin of his.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just saying,
speaking
like,
of
'cause
old and
I
washed up
didn't
and
think-
fighting, Go ahead.
No, I'm so glad. I was just gonna say I didn't think that was that bad of a movie. I mean, the other actors weren't that great. But Clint Eastwood, I thought, did an okay job. But I think I know where you're going with this, and I'm super excited to talk about that. So please go ahead, Blake.
I actually lost my train of thought, to be honest with you.
Old
Speaking
and
of fighting,
washed up. And
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Probably
Washed
shits
up, Speaking of
himself.
fighting, sounds like we're gonna have a Rumble, boys. Good old Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell have signed an agreement to fight.
Listen, Adrian Peterson has the experience from fighting his children for so many years.
and luckily Le'Veon Bell is like not that big of a guy,
Yeah.
so it really shouldn't be much. Yeah, you know,
Is that something you're gonna watch though? You can tune in and watch that.
I am not paying
yeah,
money.
absolutely.
I'm
I'm
finding
not
a
gonna pay money
stream.
for it. I'll
Yeah.
find like a stream on some like,
I'll stream it and watch
shitty
it.
Chinese website.
I ain't paying for
But,
that shit though.
I just, man, these whole like freak show boxing matches have just been terrible to watch. But I mean, this one, like, like how bad of debt are these guys in?
That's what I was
wanna
just
know.
gonna say. Are these guys
Well,
so
that-
fucking
yeah.
broke? Like, what the fuck, man? Like,
And I honestly don't think we're going to get a real fight. It's going to be, you know, like a, oh, you touch me, I touch you type of thing. But for what
I don't
it's
know,
worth,
man.
if it
Some of
was-
those internet fights, like that we've been seeing,
Yeah,
they're
but come
getting
on.
it.
Okay, but like, come on. Like,
But, I mean, they're
I
also
don't know.
hitting with like
If- I
huge
think-
gloves too. And
Sure. I think if they do end up,
You're good.
I think if they do end up being like a, you know, it ends up being like a legitimate fight. For what it's worth, I think that Adrian Peterson would absolutely wreck Le'Veon Bell in a fight.
yeah,
it's not even close.
Oh yeah, it would be.
not allowed to bring a
fantastic.
belt or a switch with him though. He's got to do it in gloves.
Mhm.
And I think that it would
I-
sell so many more tickets than they did.
It would. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I wish they would take some of these wrestling ideas, like Hell in a Cell and like ladder matches, and just like not have it be wrestling or boxing, and just be like, get in there, fuck each other up.
Well, speaking
ahead.
of that, because we've got an event this weekend with Money in the Bank, and I mean Chip's about to join us here soon. But could you imagine a UFC version of Money in the Bank? Like you win the Money in the Bank contract, you have at any point over the next year, you can turn that contract in for a title shot anywhere, anytime, any place. Like champ
That'd be
comes out of
crazy.
a 5-round fucking slugfest and can barely stand. He wins the fight but can barely fucking stand. And then here comes fucking Money in the Bank winner. Like, all right, bitch.
Hmm.
Like, could you
That'd be
imagine that?
nuts.
That'd be fucking great.
Only if it's like a Royal Rumble style with real fighting, like 30
Yeah.
dudes in an octagon, and be like, all right, whoever leaves this alive, I guess, or
Yeah,
awake.
The first one able to escape the octagon.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Like, that would be.
That would be pretty fucking sweet, actually. I think I would watch
I would
that.
pay. I would pay for that.
That should
Knowing
have
it was-
been
I'll tell
the
you what,
it had
real
to be
Fight
real.
Island.
On a slightly more serious note, I think that
I'm
I would
serious.
actually-
I
would
want that to
legitimately-
happen.
Okay, but hear me out. So if all of these like freak show boxing matches, you know, with the Jake and Logan Paul fights and all these like washed up like old football players and basketball players and former MMA fighters, like these guys that are obviously like just in debt, looking to make a quick buck. I wish that they would go back to like the old school like UFC days, like back when there was no weight divisions, there was no rounds or whatever, and there was no rules. Like grab, pull hair, like kick each other in the nuts, like
What's Butterbean
whatever.
up
Just get in
to?
there.
Get him involved in this.
But that's what I'm saying, and all of the fights happen in one night, just a one night single elimination tournament. I say let's do it. Let's bring all these, coked out whatever like has-beens.
Let's let him have
let 'em have at
knives.
Just
That'd
bring
be
back
like-
Chuck Liddell, baby.
It'd be like
Butter
watching
knives, though.
Bum fights.
Bum.
Oh yeah, bum fights. I
Oh,
forgot
do you
about
remember? I used to watch those on E-Bombs World.
Yeah, me too.
that. E-bombs
I
world.
used to just watch
We're
the
gonna get hit
back
for that.
the backyard boxing where Kimbo Slice made
Kimbo
his
Slice.
Yeah. name.
Kimbo.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because that's when the UFC lost me. That that season of The Ultimate Fighter when it was with John Jones and Rashad Evans, or no, not John Jones. Who was it?
Rashad Evans was on there though.
Rampage.
Rampage.
It was,
Yeah.
right.
And these
Rampage.
motherfuckers talked shit, and they ripped doors off hinges, and they were like, "I'm gonna fucking shove this door up your asshole sideways." And then they went into their actual fight like after the season, and I remember paying for that motherfucking thing. I paid for 2 fights in my life. That fight, and I was pissed off. And I paid for the Conor McGregor fight, which they fucking danced around for 3.5 hours, and I'm pissed about that.
I don't think I ever
But-
paid for a fucking fight.
I've never.
But boys,
But boys.
it is party time.
Oh,
There
wait,
he
hold
is, the
on.
manimal himself.
It
There's
is
a-
party time.
There's
We
the
are
champ.
joined this evening by the current, is it the current heavyweight?
It's just
Yeah,
the belt boys here. It's just the belt boys.
I like your style. There you
Yeah, belt boys, baby.
Ooh. Raise your drinks.
You
Raise
know
your
what?
drinks to the champ, gentlemen.
I'll go fucking grab my
I'll
little
cheers to that.
son's.
go. I'll cheers.
God damn it! I gotta go grab my beer.
I'm
Fail.
taking high quality H2O and antibiotics, you know.
Same.
So, champ, how you been, dude?
Good. How you guys doing?
Not as
Doing
good
well,
as you.
man.
Looking awesome with that fucking belt. I'm
Pretty
jealous
good.
of Ryan's too.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an exclusive.
That is nice.
That's what
dude. I kinda
happens
got
when
a
you're
re-
better
replica-
at fantasy
I like I
football.
got the wings on it, like the old like WWF.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
that's a sick belt. That's
Yeah,
like
I
a
like
real
that.
belt.
See if we
That's a
can-
legit belt.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, it's got the
Look at
you know
that.
it's all fancy.
Just give me the
If
old
you're
WWF.
not
vibe.
watching, if you're not
Yeah,
watching
side
on the
plates and
YouTubes
everything.
right now,
Oh, yeah.
it's a sick belt.
Yeah. If you're listening to this on the podcast, make sure you go to the YouTube channel and check this out because this belt is legit, and our boys got it, which makes it even better.
Oh yeah.
So when's the next title fight?
I think right now we got one planned for next month. Back
Okay.
at the baseball stadium out in Alice, Michigan, where we just were.
Yeah.
Who I'm wrestling there? No clue yet. And then I know, as long as things go well and I keep the title with me in October. I have an opponent lined up, a young guy coming up. His name's Russell TV for Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, kind of doing a little cross promotion there.
Yeah, I
I'm
saw
gonna
that
defend
earlier.
I'm going to defend my title there. So that should be a good one. That card is stacked. The card's been announced already. It's just stacked. A lot of names from all over. So that show right now is looking to be a pretty good one.
Where's that in Chicago?
awesome.
You guys fighting at?
That one's actually in Michigan City.
Cool.
They bring in a lot of the promotion likes to keep a lot of the Chicago area guys and kind of Midwest guys, kind of top talent in there. Get
Yeah.
those guys more of the exposure. A couple guys kind of East Coast, West Coast that run a little bit that come in, but for the most part, it's all kind of Midwest guys that that are semi-local. That they come in to just kind of push those guys more.
Yeah, Michigan City's
yeah.
my background.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah, so I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah, it's over there at the was it the Skiwat Lodge right there
I
by
know.
the football field.
Yep, I know you're at.
Yep.
Huh, that'd be awesome. That'd be cool. So, watch the match versus Kareem. That's
Karam.
a big dude. Karam.
I don't want
sorry.
him coming after you. So
Oh god, yeah, Karam. Yeah, Karam, don't
Yeah.
don't
Sup,
come after
Kareem?
me. You know what though? I'm not worried. I'll send my boy Chip. I'm not
there-
worried.
Yeah.
there- I'll go around.
We got the manimal in our corner.
Yeah, we ain't worried. So come at us, bro. But I mean, so that's a
Not
big
me.
dude. So
Yeah, by the way, that's an open challenge.
no, it is not. Fuck that. I'm not Pat McAfee. I don't want none of that shit. None of that. So, but like I was saying, he's the big dude. So like that angle slam, or what do you call it? Because yours is not the angle slam, is it?
It's a
I
chip
mean,
slam.
I still the chip slam, the keg slam, we can go. with
Oh, I like
whatever.
keg slam.
I
Keg
still
slam.
call it the angle slam because I'm a huge Kurt Angle guy. I like to give him the props. But we can go with whatever.
So, but what I was saying is that's a big dude, right?
Yes.
So like
Yes.
I watched it and I was like, holy shit, he's actually gonna, like, because you tried it one time and then he blocked it, and then like 30 seconds later you did it for the win. I was just like, how the fuck did he pick him up?
You know, that adrenaline kicks and you realize it's kind of do or die. You know, kind of like with the amateur stuff. You know, there's 30 seconds left. All of a sudden, you know, you need an escape and a takedown. That second, third, fourth gear kicks in, and you know, everything you got right there just kind of goes.
The dude reminds me of Roman Reigns.
He is very
He
Roman.
does kind of look like.
Yeah, he looks like he could be part of the family for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I hate Roman Reigns, and I'll fucking stand on this hill until I die. So I'm glad if that too Rob went to, I'm glad that you angle slammed that motherfucker and kept your belt. Come
You know,
at me, Usos.
I like Roman personally, you know, but yeah, I get you there. Yeah, no, he's it's about 250, pretty much just straight muscle. It's probably
Jesus.
6'2", 6'3". Yeah, he's been on AEW's dark stuff lately, doing a lot of the dark matches and things like that for them. And I know,
that's cool.
Yeah, and I know
That is pretty dope.
Yeah, last couple of months, I think he was in Germany, and he was kind of touring some stuff in Germany and doing a little circuit there in Germany and stuff. So he's definitely making a huge name for himself within this last year.
Over there fighting Gunther.
Yeah, Gunther and those guys. Yeah.
That dude, I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about. This dude is this big ass fucking German dude that just showed up to WWE and was like, doesn't talk. He's got like this little sidekick that talks for him, and all he says,
He used to be Walter, if you know if that rings any bells.
So
Yeah,
we got
he
Money in
I
the
have
Bank
to
this
openly.
weekend. Who you got?
You know, it's hard to pick against Omos. He's just so freaking big. I mean, realistically, he climbs up 3 steps of the ladder and he's already there. So, you know, I could see a little Omos push. Plus, he's got MVP with him, and it's hard to pick against the big guy.
That's true. I call myself an original Riddle Bro, because that dude, I love everything that he does. So the fact that he got in last night, I was stoked about. I don't think he's got a chance in hell. And actually, he almost beat Roman. Just remind everybody.
And Riddle's a lot better than I think what a lot of people realize. I mean, your normal like casual viewing fan's gonna like Riddle just because he's got the flash to it. Plus, he's got that goofy personality. But anybody that like knows Riddle from before like his stint here with WWE, you know, he's doing like hardcore matches and death matches barefoot still. You know, he's a different breed. Yeah. There's been matches out there and, you know, some glass stuff, and he's wrestling with glass shards all around the ring barefoot. I'm like, dude, what are you like?
Yeesh.
Yeah, Riddle's something else.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Rick, it says you're.
Luckily, I'm not Riddle. So.
Yeah, that.
Say what?
It said you were muted. You're good.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Okay.
It's all you, Chip. Go ahead. What were you saying?
But yeah, you know, as much as I love Riddle and that, it's like I said, just Omos is just huge. You know, it's going to take all of them to take him out, and then again, even still, he walks up 2 of those rungs and he's there. You know, and I don't know. I just feel like it's hard to go against Omos at this point.
I don't disagree. So what about women's? Who you got there?
That's Becky. You know, I mean,
that's who I have is Becky.
She's due for something big here. So, you know, again, it's kind of hard to pick against the experience and what she brings to the table, and you know what she has to offer. So, I think I'm going towards Becky on that one.
So, and then last one, and then I'll give it over to the guys. So who's your favorite? Like, obviously we know, you know, you a lot of your style comes from watching Kurt Angle and kind of that. Who today, if someone was like, hey, who's your favorite superstar? I'm hoping it's not. I mean, obviously we know, you know, you said Gable Stevenson, right? Because you know him and you trained with him. But like, I guess like current real face the WWE superstar, who's your guy or gal?
We're going just strictly WWE here.
I mean, we can open up to AEW. I don't know as much about the AEW as I do the WWE. I'm trying to get into watching the AEW, but I'm open for.
So I guess since he was just on AEW in that Forbidden Door stuff they just did, I love Jeff Cobb. He was on the Greco team for Cuba back in the day and stuff, and just like his style, the way he does. I mean, he's a thick boy. That is a thick boy, and the stuff he does, like I said, he's got a lot of that amateur style to him too. So a lot of those throws and the way he just gets creative with setting things up. Hit the finisher he hits. He picks you up like he's gonna body slam you, but then he kind of like dips you so your head hits the mat, then he brings you back the other way. So essentially then your head like goes in the air, and your feet kind of come out. So instead of like a normal body slam where your feet would go in the air, he kind of gets you so your head goes up in the air instead, and he kind of like leaves his feet. And like I said, it's kind of like a reverse body slam, but you know, the way he just catches people, and I mean, he's caught some big dudes, and he does that, and it's impressive with his strength and speed. And like I said, a lot of the stuff he does a lot of work for like New Japan, and he's kind of got that just in your face, just gonna punch you and forearm you to death. But then, like I said, he'll hit you with something quick or something flashy, and I think he's just got a whole style to him that it's hard to mimic and replicate, and it's something you just can appreciate.
He's
awesome.
got Umaga vibes to me. He reminds me of Umaga.
Yeah, it is very similar to Umaga. Yeah. If they let Umaga just do his thing and not be such a terror, it's very Umaga-y.
So Rob, I know you weren't here the first time we had Chip on. So what kind of questions do you have for? Because I'm sure you've got a bunch.
Wait, real quick before you ask a question. So last time, a question about a fart in a match came up.
Yes, please tell me it happened. Please tell me it happened.
Was that Ryan that asked the question?
You know it was.
Of course it was.
So no joke, the night that I won this bad boy, I went through 4 matches in one night. The very first match, I go to give the guy a German. He backflips, lands on his feet. We do a little stuff. Next thing I'm like, man, what is that smell?
You made somebody shit themselves.
Of course. I was like, it's like I haven't had that issue yet. Then that question gets brought up, and what do you know? Freaking first match out.
Sure enough.
I was like, oh,
You're
boy.
welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, boy.
Ryan's like, so hey, I got a question.
He was getting desperate.
Fuck off. No question.
That's awesome.
That's funny, man.
That's funny. Hey, the guy was getting desperate. He knew that Chip was going to be the champ, and so he had to desperate times call for desperate measures.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Chemical
Shit
warfare.
out of him.
Chemical warfare. Oh, gosh.
Rob, go ahead.
No, so I know you said you like Kurt Angle, but was there like any what made you get into wrestling? Like, I know like you used to like probably watch like me. Like I was a big fan, like watching it when I was little. But what was that like one person that like even before Kurt Angle, like what was that thing like? You watched a wrestler come out and like, damn, I want to do that one day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember. So my dad's always been a huge pro wrestling fan.
Yeah.
And he wrestled way back in the day in high school and stuff. And so I have older siblings and they wrestled and everything. So it was just kind of, hey, you're going to be a wrestler. So kind of growing up, already knowing, hey, I love wrestling. I'm going to be wrestling. And my dad being like a pro wrestling fan, I kind of got hooked on both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing Kurt Hennig come out as a young kid, spit that gum up and smack it. And
throw
just
that
like
towel?
look at the camera. He threw the towel back and caught it. And I remember being probably like 3-4 years old, chewing gum when I'm not supposed to, going it's hitting it off the floor and it's doing everything but hitting the gum. I'm like, why is there gum everywhere? Like, oh, So I think Kurt Hennig, just that whole Mr. Perfect gimmick. I think that was one of those first times I was like, this is awesome. And then it just happened to be he was also an amateur wrestler. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But like him, I remember like Sean and Razor Ramon and their ladder match being little.
Yeah.
You
Razor
know, watching
Ramon.
that. Yeah, you know, just kind of some of those matches. You know, those ones that kind of set the table for what certain matches are today. And kind of setting that precedent. You know, like that's the stuff I remember. I don't remember a whole lot of like Ric Flair when I was
Yeah.
younger, just because
Yeah.
you know I didn't watch like AWA or anything like that. But then like as I've gotten older and looking back at you know all his old stuff and the Four Horsemen, things like that, you know I definitely appreciate a lot of what they did and just that lifestyle and you know really living the gimmick, you know for better and for worse.
Mhm.
But yeah, you know just stuff like that. I think, like I said, just kind of those larger than life personalities. I think is what drew me in, you know, more as a kid. And then having that amateur background, like I could do this, I could do this. Plus having brothers going, "Hey, we saw this on TV. Come here," you know, and they throw you off the roof into a garbage can, you know, pretending that you're Mick Foley. So
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Did you like?
Yeah.
You said your dad was big into wrestling. Did you guys have like a gym in the basement? You know, where you guys like practice? Kind of like the Hart Foundation. They had their
no,
own,
no,
like-
we just went through couches and chairs and
Mattresses.
like I said, having the
Yeah.
a lot of mattresses. We broke the bunk bed several times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have two older brothers, so I was always their dummy for stuff. And then as I got older, I used to use my like two younger brothers, you know, or a sister or whoever just wanted to get involved. And yeah, we just
Oh,
broke
geez.
stuff, furniture all the time. And you know, my dad's ladders. Why is this rug messed up? You know, who broke the damn ladder? You know, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. And like, oops, I don't know how that happened. You know, so yeah, we were just anywhere, everywhere we could wrestle. We were always wrestling.
Did you
That's awesome.
Did you ever get to go to a WWE like a WrestleMania event? Or no?
Not WrestleMania. I think the first like wrestling thing I went to was an ECW pay per view.
Oh, nice.
When it was in Chicago. It was the night Taz sold out. Freaking awesome. We had front row seats because my dad knew the people.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we'll hook you up. I was like, sweet, you know. We got Tajiri to spit a loogie in my sister's hair, which was kind of funny. And,
Oh,
you know, we got pictures of
man.
New Jack putting staples in people's head and RVD jumping from the ring into the crowd. You know, so that was sweet. And then got to go to a couple like WWE house shows over the years. You know, my wife got me tickets for Christmas, my birthday, that kind of stuff. So we went. Of course, I sat there like a typical Mark with my Money in the Bank briefcase. Like, yeah, I'm cashing in tonight. You know, like
Yeah.
she's like, shut up, you know, whatever. But you know, I got just, you know, I've been to a couple of those things. So yeah.
That's cool.
We
Yeah,
were
I'm-
talking before you jumped on real quick, Rob, about imagine if like UFC had adopted some of the gimmicks from pro wrestling. Like imagine like a Money in the Bank for UFC. Like these guys come out of 5 rounds of just beating the living hell out of each other.
Or
They
my
literally
idea.
Or
Which
your
is
idea.
which is they just all get in the octagon, and whoever
Royal
makes it
Rumble
out
style.
gets the briefcase.
Last man standing,
No
literally.
touching of the hair or face.
All right, go ahead, Rob. It's all you.
No, I was just saying like because it's very cool, man, to talk to someone that's like you know doing what you do, man. You know that's awesome.
Appreciate
And
it.
I was a big fan. I'm an old school wrestler, like you know watching
Mhm.
Shawn Michaels back in the day. Like that's what made me become like him and Razor Ramon, that ladder match. Like WrestleMania 10 was probably one of my favorite WrestleManias.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
And then
I mean,
go ahead.
the way it's just like even set up like with Razor coming out like doing his bad guy like machismo just underneath the ladder, and you're like,
Like bad
Razor,
luck.
what are
like,
you doing? Razor,
Yep.
what are you doing? You know.
Yeah,
You know, get that iconic picture of Sean splashing them off, like you know, it's just
yeah.
I mean, the way they just that like I said, it just kind of set the table for what a ladder match is today.
It was just a story. The stories back in the day, like man, they were just so awesome. Like even one of my favorite matches is Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels at that WrestleMania, one of the WrestleManias. But man, they put on a fucking show. I know Kurt Angle ended up winning, but man, it was that fight almost lasted an hour, and it was awesome from like the start of it. So
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the same thing he did with like Eddie. I mean, him and
Yeah.
Eddie just constant story, even from like ankle lock and Eddie's boot coming off, and just I don't know how the boot came
yeah,
off. You know,
yeah,
like you don't see that anymore. And like I said, it's all it's about telling the story, getting the emotions involved, and you know, getting the fans invested.
Yeah, and I get it, but I think like they push that NXT on you so much, and they're pushing women. Nothing against women fighters, but I think they're just pushing it on you so much. Where it's like bring don't change something. Like if you want to start something else, I mean start it. But when people like I try to get back, and I know Blake can maybe agree, but when you try to get back into watching it and stuff, it's like I want to watch I want like the kind of like the old school. Now I know times have changed, but bring back the storylines and I think one of like the me catching on is this Ezekiel guy, Elias and Ezekiel. Man, it's like dude,
Well,
his
there's two
character,
different people there. It's two
Yeah.
different people there.
they're brothers.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we're not on Kevin Owens' team here,
I know.
bro.
but this gimmick is awesome, man.
Yeah, and like with I think the hard part with WWE with it being a business and and a business first, I think they see the potential in what people have way before everyone else does.
Yeah.
And so it's like with Roman Reigns, they pushed Roman and pushed him and pushed him and pushed him, and like the fans just didn't want Roman at that time. And everyone's always like, well, why did it take Roman so long, but to establish himself? He just got pushed and pushed.
Yeah.
He had that potential. He had all the talent. He had that charisma, and it just, the fans didn't want it at that time. It's kind of like with John Cena. Like John Cena is, whether you like him or don't, like, honestly, he's going to go down as one of the best, if not the best wrestlers, to ever come through. Just, he was always WWE in business first. It didn't matter.
He's still dedicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, look at it with The Undertaker. He essentially jobbed out The Undertaker at a WrestleMania.
Yep.
And no one else is going to do that. And some of the stuff John does, like, people aren't going to just do that. And I think that's part of the part of the problem of why, like, that older generation of fans, like we hate John Cena because he's on TV all the time, whereas the kids love him. Yeah, the kids love him. They buy the merch. The parents buy the merch for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's making money. He's WWE first. He's WWE, through and through. Yeah, he's gonna always be pushed in because of that. Whereas, like, on the flip side with the AEW now, they push a lot of those kind of former WWE guys in a way, but at the same time, they're allowing certain talent to kind of shine and rise on their own, and then the fans kind of catching on to that quickly and, kind of becoming fans of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, you have two models of business, and one's been so successful for so long, so why change it? Whereas the other one's kind of coming into the game and trying to do something different and, make their own name.
Yeah, no, you're right on that. I've been getting into AEW, and it seems like these guys are getting more of a chance. Like, and it's more surprise when you watch it. Like, I feel like when you're watching WWE, it's like nothing against Roman Reigns. I like Roman Reigns. He's a good athlete, good performer. But I feel like it's the same old, same old. Like, I think you need to have like that. It's always Brock Lesnar. You're gonna bring back Brock Lesnar to fight him, but have that guy like why not bring back like Randy Orton and put him on top? And I'm not saying just Randy Orton, but have a surprise. Like, there's fans that it's just I'm used to. Like, I'm like every time a pay-per-view comes, I feel like Roman Reigns is unstoppable.
Yeah.
And
but only because he cheats.
I know, but it's just like for the fans, man. It's like I want like change, man. I don't want. I feel like I can predict every match, and that's not how it used to be.
And I think there's some credence to be lent to that, like with regards to like you said, like maybe they bring back like Randy Orton or something like that. I think like bringing back every once in a while, like some of the old school guys. Like I know, mind you, I haven't been into wrestling since I was a kid. But when the most recent time, and I know this is a few years ago, but like whenever Goldberg came back, like even younger fans that like weren't around to watch him like while he was still active went nuts about that, and I certainly did. And I was like, even for that short period of time, like just having that little bit, a slight nod like to the older days, or something like that. I think just kind of staying true with the brand in its entirety of its history, I think definitely helps.
I think what would help with a lot of that stuff though too is instead of having someone like a Goldberg who, Goldberg looks great still, but he can't put on a 10, 15, 20-minute match. He just can't.
That's true.
And
I
need
think
to
if you bring, and I think if you bring a Goldberg in to be more of a mentor for like a guy like a Big E, who's just a big powerhouse,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of have him do more of that mentor role, or you bring in like a Kurt Angle for like a Jason Jordan, like he did with Jason Jordan back in the day before he became his son allegedly. I think if you bring more of like that mentorship and kind of like revive like a true manager, I think that could help with a lot of your storytelling. Because I mean, like MVP right now is really one of the only true managers kind of in what WWE has.
Yeah, right.
Well,
And what he did with Lashley,
Heyman.
yeah, what he did. Well, Heyman's more of an advocate. He's more of just to be the microphone. Whereas like MVP's going to get involved in the match, and MVP's going to just run his mouth. Whereas Paul's like, hey, this is what it is, and this is how it is.
That's fair.
And MVP's going to wrestle. I mean, he just wrestled a couple weeks ago. And so I think if you had more of kind of that mentorship aspect, I think that could change up kind of the product a little bit, but still kind of keep it in what, like I said, what is successful and what's going to make money and what is, putting essentially butts in seats.
Yeah. So I got one question for you, and Rick brought it up about Goldberg. So I was all for Goldberg, but I think Goldberg was the reason why Bray Wyatt is no longer in the WWE. I think the Fiend, that was extremely awesome, talented. It kept me. That's when I started watching wrestling again. I was like, man, this whole like Undertaker vibes, Undertaker Kane, but in one character. He was coming out like dark, disappearing, but then Goldberg came and he didn't want to lose the title at what was it? It was Clash of Jewels.
Saudi for that one.
Yeah, and he didn't want to lose it, and then they gave him what he wants. So it's like Bray Wyatt just won the title, and then had to lose it at the next event. So it's like, man, it's like it sucks, man, because you had so much talent right there, and you just lost it all.
Yeah, and I know a lot of like rumor mill stuff with that is a lot of the Saudi like princes or whoever's kind of overseeing a lot of that. They're like, we want this guy, this guy, this guy. This guy has to win. This guy wins. This guy wins. And so I know they were big for Goldberg, at least from kind of rumor mill. Yeah. It's like, hey, we want Goldberg and we want Goldberg to win. Unfortunately, Bray Wyatt was kind of the victim to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, like I wish they would have just kept him as, Deep South Woody Bray Wyatt. Like that gimmick was awesome.
And that's so I love that too. I did.
Yeah.
I think we got to get on Vince McMahon. Can we just talk about Vince McMahon?
Yeah, let's jump on that for a couple minutes before we lose Chip there. I mean, obviously you were talking about mentorship, right? Like, but now with Triple H coming back to the WWE, I think that'll be good for a lot of these young guys.
Yes.
And when he was on NXT, correct me if I'm wrong, the matches on NXT or the show was much better because he was in charge of stuff, from what I've been told.
So if we look back at the black and gold era, as they call it, I feel like a lot of that was more of kind of like what you see with like what AEW is doing now, where it's more match. Maybe a card only had 3-4 matches on it, but it was a longer match. Might have been a little spottier at times, and kind of like what Vince seems to like. But it seemed like it was more of wrestling and kind of let's tell a story in the ring. Whereas now it's a lot more promos. It's a lot more building up the extra stuff with it. Kind of like.
What do you like? What do you like more? Which style, I guess?
I don't mind the promo storytelling stuff in it. I have a hard time when a promo goes for 10, 15 minutes and then you have a short bit of a match and goes to commercial, or, you get a short, quick match and then it's commercial and then you're back to promos again.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put promos in there, things like that, like I'm all for it. Let the talent talk. There's guys that are so good on the mic, let them talk. But I think within like an NXT aspect of things, keep stuff short and sweet. Keep the fans invested. Don't throw everything out at once. Keep it short, sweet, to the point. And, keep the show rolling, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of the gimmicks. Obviously I like the matches because that's where the action is. But like going back to kind of what you said, Rob, about like the whole Undertaker Kane, like once I started rewatching WWE after Royal Rumble this year, I went down this rabbit hole on YouTube watching all of these videos on Undertaker and Kane and like that whole storyline and just like that whole gimmick. Like, I get it, we're never gonna have another Undertaker, right? Like, but that storyline, like like I remember growing up and you believed it as a kid. Like you believed that they were brothers. Undertaker set the house on fire. Kane went, and it was just like that was, yeah, like that. Growing up, man, like that was real, and so I think that's why I'm partial to some of the promos, because that's where like those gimmicks where Undertaker's stole the limo. When he was gonna do the thing to, what was it, Kane in the morgue or in the dentist or something.
Mhm.
When I shared it the other day on Facebook, when Stone Cold Steve Austin beat the hell out of Booker T in the grocery
Yeah,
store.
in the grocery store. Yep.
That line of, "Can I get a price check on a jackass?" Like fucking gold, fucking gold. But I think the WWE lost a lot of that, and I think it's because of society as a whole.
Yeah, well, I think they switched when they switched to PG. I think, it used to be like rated R or something. I thought, but they used to do like these hardcore matches. Like you're never gonna see that again because now it's just like PG for like the younger kids, and they're not trying to force like people to have like these fights and stuff. Like you're right, Blake. I thought that too, man. I thought they were brothers, and then I saw him light that casket on fire. I'm like, holy shit, man! The Undertaker's gone forever. Like a little kid, you're like, holy crap, man! Like.
Or the buried alive stuff.
Or the buried alive matches.
Yeah.
The glove
that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little off topic here, but sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but seeing like to me those promos were more of like a substance, or it was more of like the vignette era.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't just like as much as I like Braun Breaker, he comes out and he just yells in the mic all the time, like I just want to see Braun Breaker pick some dude up and throw him around like a rag doll because, he's a strong, powerful dude. Like I'd rather, who wants to fight me tonight? Than someone comes out and just whoops ass. Like that's what I want.
His mic skills are keeping him off WWE.
Possibly.
In my opinion.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I just feel like sometimes those promos just blood too much. Like as much as I like what the Miz does, like Miz TV doesn't need to be 15, 20 minutes. Or the Kevin Owens show doesn't need to be 15, 20 minutes. Like keep it short, keep it sweet.
Yep. I agree.
So how do you, and this is just like going back to, I guess being in the gimmick or being in character. I mean, how do you, like you joined this call, right? Like we advertised this for Chip, that's your character. You join on and you have your name on the Zoom, obviously, so like how do you work on the gimmick? Where is the line? Like how does that stuff kind of work?
I guess finding that line of what are you doing it for?
Sure.
With this call, like there's a little bit of kind of shoot mixing in with work. I'm going to stay as true to Chip as I can, as this is a, Chip call and kind of things like that. But, me outside of this and you're going to get more of kind of my shoot style, my shoot conversation.
Sure.
But at the same time, too, if you're running a good and successful gimmick and something that is true and believable, there should be a little bit of that kind of circle, overlapping circles that meet to where you want people to believe the gimmick, but you also want people to kind of think that the gimmick is really like who you are as a person.
Yeah,
that makes
sense.
That
makes a lot of sense.
Like you don't necessarily want to go out and see Roman Reigns out in the grocery store. Then he's like, "Hey, I'm Joe. Nice to meet you." Blah blah blah. What is this? Whereas if you see me out in the grocery store, you probably I'm random thing coming home from Avon this weekend, ran into someone I know in the back. Chip, what's up, Chip? I was like, oh hey dude, what's up? And just I can still be Chip and still be my shoot self as well because it's kind of one and the same.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
Speaking
cool.
speaking of the gimmicks, man, what I saw on WWE, they cannot go out of character, and how much is a fine if they do that? Rhea Ripley, she was one, and it was a young girl, and I saw it on a TikTok, man. The young girl wanted to do it, and dude, she just gave her like Rhea just gave her like this dirty ass look and said, "Get the fuck out of my face," kind of like that, you know.
That's
It's
kind of her
like,
character, though.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. She can't, even though she probably wanted to go like hug this little girl. They can't break character, man. It's like a fine for them. I think someone broke character before, and it was like a big issue, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of old school people that have a hard time with that. Like just for example, because my wife loves Finn Balor.
Okay.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm a big Finn fan.
Finn was doing a lot of the demon stuff at the time, but
Yeah.
then he'd be on like Instagram going, "Oh, look at me," you know, that's all little cheesy smiles. You're like, what's going on, Finn? And I think part of that too is also why like people love the Undertaker, because the Undertaker was Undertaker in and out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that happy chance that you saw Mark Calloway somewhere, hey, you saw him. But other than that, if you're doing press, you're doing anything, you're getting Undertaker. And I think, I mean, it's like Ric Flair. Ric Flair lived that gimmick again, whether it was
He still does.
for the good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he still does.
He's still living the gimmick.
He was in Amigos video a couple years ago.
Yeah, he was just at the bar
I do remember
past
that.
weekend doing his little dance to it and stuff. So, I mean, it's hard when you're a heel sometimes, because you do want to give love to the fans that are there to support what you're doing. But at the same time, like, you're a heel. You got to be a heel.
Yeah.
You know, that when the camera's not rolling and things are going, you know, act as you want. But, you know, when cameras are on you and there's fans around and things are going on, you know, the audience and the fans see you as something, and that's kind of, you know, what they're expecting.
Yeah.
Chip, I got a question for you. Not to kind of change the subject up. And I want to say we touched on this a little bit the last time we had you on the show. But I think for myself, I represent probably a part of our listeners that either A, really don't get into wrestling that much, or just haven't been like really into that. Into wrestling in quite some time. So I'm curious, with regards to matches, where does the line end? How do I say this? So I know, like, with wrestling, I'm sure there is at least an element of choreography with it and whatnot, though it's like still very, very physical. Where does the line of the choreography, for lack of a better term, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything like that, but where does that line end and like an actual competition begin? Like, you know, if you know, like, if your opponent is like trying to perform such and such move, you know, in terms of not wanting to make it a shitty show, you know, you let them do whatever move or what have you. But how does that all get figured out?
I mean, there's that, I guess, element of, we kind of touched on it last time too, you know, a little bit of like that communication, whether it's certain signals from the ref, from one another, you know, just to make sure like we're kind of keeping each other safe. But at the same time, if we're doing our job correctly, that line is very blurred of what is real, what is work, etc. And I mean, there are times too where if you do something and it's a little sniff and snug, and you have, you know, a vet in the ring with you, or someone's been in the business for a while and they don't like that, you might catch an actual fist to the face. And then at that point, you got to figure out, well, was that a receipt? You know, was that something I did wrong to get, you know, justified for? Or is this guy trying to legitimately fight me right now? You know, so like I said, it's one of those things, like, our job to entertain is to kind of blur that line as much as we can.
Certainly.
You know, I mean, at times it's easier to tell than other times. I think one of my kind of stronger suits is kind of how I sell things and how I work the ring as well. You know, I've got a lot of people that are always like, I can't tell if you're really hurt or not. And even my wife said too, she's like, I can't tell when you sometimes, like, I'm like, oh crap, you really got hurt. And I'm like, no, I'm just doing my job.
Right.
You know, and I've had fans come up to me like, hey Chip, how's your shoulder? Did your shoulder get healthy? You know, and things like that. And, you know, they're younger fans, you know, they're kind of still Not sure what's, how the business works quite, quite yet. But to me, that's something. Hey, if that little 8-year-old kid is concerned about my health and my shoulder, then, I'm doing
You're
what I'm
doing your
supposed to
job.
be doing. Yeah. And so kind of, to that, it's we kind of try to blur that line as much as we can. Keep
Makes
each other
sense.
safe,
Yeah.
but blur that line.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Like
Any
I
other-
get a lot of guys that tell me, hey, you're a little snug in there. I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to. It's supposed to look like a fight. So if my forearm
Yeah.
kind of hits you a little hard, sorry, like if I chop the
Yeah,
crap
it's-
out
yeah.
of you, sorry.
So
but-
has it happened that you've been in a fight and a dude just like decked you and you're just like, what the fuck was that for? And like it was like almost like a miscommunication. Like the dude thought you did something too rough, you didn't do too rough. The next thing you know, you're both actually pissed off in this thing.
I've had that happen. I've had some stuff happen in a match where, like the refs kind of stopped counting the fall for some reason. The dude didn't kick out. The ref kind of stopped counting, and so it was me and 2 other guys, and I was on the outside. So when I slid back in, like the ref just kind of stopped counting. I don't know if he thought I broke the fall up or what. But then next thing I know, the one kid just booted me in the face.
Jesus.
Jesus.
I don't blame them. We can't just all stand there looking at each other. Oh, what happened? Time I'm, if someone knows it's not coming, I'm not going to just boot you in the face. I might hit you, punch you, chop you, or something. But yeah, I took a boot to the face a little bit, and that kind of pissed me off. But I was like, well, show's got to go on. I can't get mad about it now. So
Right.
Are we talking like a claymore? Like Drew McIntyre, this dude hit you with a claymore?
more of
Or
like a super kick aspect, like kind of boom right in the nose. I'm like, this
Got a little sweet chin action.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, I'm not botching a second ending, so I guess I'm taking it and, whatever. But yeah.
So how many, you said second ending, do you guys have multiple, so like you're going to a match, are there multiple endings that could happen? Or is it like, hey, this is the ending, however you get there, we don't care?
A lot of times this is how we're getting there, or hey, how we finishing, and then we'll figure everything else out. Or we'll just kind of see how the crowd is. We'll go off of that. Every now and then you might have a backup plan. Just hey, if this gets screwed up because it's big, and it gets screwed up, then we'll revert and do A, B, and C instead of 1, 2, and 3. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anything else
Very
for
cool.
Manimal before we let him go?
Oh, that's it, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
asking questions, man.
Always a pleasure.
You gotta let me know
Cheers,
next time you
champ.
fight in Michigan City, man. I like to go.
October.
All right. October
yeah.
9th, Sunday.
October 9th. Perfect.
So, yeah, I have all the links and stuff on like my Facebook stuff. You'll find me on like Chip Walker. I think
I'll post them on all our stuff too for you.
perfect. There you go.
Still better be rocking that title.
That's the plan, baby. That's the
right.
plan.
That's right.
Rocking it all the way to
Keep it
Louisville,
in the
right?
frat house.
Oh yeah.
Rock it all the way to Louisville.
Yep.
All right,
So-
Chip. Well, we appreciate you, brother.
All right. Thank you, bro. Thank you, boys.
Of
you
course,
have a
keep
good one,
fighting,
brother.
champ.
All right. Take care, guys.
See ya.
We'll see you, my dude.
Peace.
It's such a cool, interesting look, and I know like you guys aren't big wrestling fans, but it's cool for our
Hold on.
listeners that are. You're not a big wrestling fan. Like you watch it every now and then, but you're not a big wrestling fan. But
I'm
like
an
Rick,
old school wrestler.
sure, but like I think what like
I know
Rick
what you mean.
said, like it's a cool look behind the curtain for our non-wrestling fans that are, maybe slightly interested. Like if you're a dude and you're like, hey, like it is what it is. Maybe I'll tune in. Like you might be interested now because you hear some of the shit that he said. I think it's interesting. I think it's really cool.
Absolutely, 100%. That's kind of why I wanted to ask him. I kind of touched on that little bit the last time we had him on the show. But I, this time included, both times that we've had him, I've just absolutely loved talking to the guy. I think just kind of like you said, kind of peeling back the curtain a little bit to kind of get a deeper appreciation for it, see it beyond, as I used to jokingly refer to it as just the redneck soap opera.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You actually kind of like appreciate the art form that it is, and like every little aspect that goes into it. It's it really is a true work of art. It's
Yeah. You guys need to
cool.
go watch that Karam, right? It was Karam? What's his name?
I don't know. You're the
Yeah,
one that
Karam.
opened it. You're the one that I have an open
Shit.
challenge with him. I hope
Whoa,
he's listening.
whoa.
He
Come at me,
said,
bro.
Chip got
Blake
my back.
said
Chip
that he wants to
Blake
fight
said-
you,
got
Karam.
my
He
back.
did, and he said
Chip
it in
said,
a
I
casket
will
match.
angle slam. Oh, burn alive, baby. You see the gun snipe, boys? AC's not working in the house, so I got rocking the tank top.
Your
just now.
sleeves fell off your shirt.
I know. I'm glad the Wi-Fi is working.
Is the
Yeah, me
sun not working?
No, look at me. I'm fucking, dude. I'm white as shit. Look at that. Kidding me, dude? I go outside to fucking smoke and come back in. That's all I do. I walked
Yeah,
outside today and it
we
was
see
I was
that.
in the shade. Shut the fuck up. Just because
Uh,
you in Florida. Look, Rick lives in Florida and he's not much darker than me. I don't want to fucking hear it.
he looks like he's got some ginger in him, though. So
Yeah.
Yeah, this lot. Well, you can't really see it. My hair. I'm about to like show off my terrible hairdo, but like I've got like this horrible. This lighting's terrible on
Calic?
this phone camera. Well, no, I've got, like,
Calic.
I've been wearing. I just got a haircut like a couple days ago. But
I'm just
before that,
roasting everybody now.
As soon as
I'm
as soon as
afraid
I
to
got off
talk.
work, as soon as I got off work, I would I just rock my hat because my hair looked ridiculous, and so then I'd be walking around outside or whatever, and I just have like a beet red forehead, but just like this, like right through the
So
middle.
you know how they call it like a farmer's tan?
Yeah.
When you just got the tan
the
down
sleeves and
here and then the white, that should be called the Florida tan or the Kyle tan.
The Kyle tan.
It's
what's
just
funny is
it's
one
just
of
that
my,
window, that blistering sunburn
Yeah.
window.
Yep.
And notice how
I
when
get
Chip's
that a
on,
lot.
Ryan didn't say a damn word. It pops off, talking shit to everybody.
I know.
Yeah, caught for his fart comment.
I'm just happy.
It's funny, what
I'm
chances?
happy that dude farted.
You know,
I think, I think
you
he
know-
listened to the show beforehand and he's like,
Hey,
bet.
you know what's funny was? I thought he was going to answer that one question that we had in the pre-show one time. Ryan asked.
What question?
Oh.
I'm not going to bring it up.
Oh,
Bring it up,
oh.
I didn't even ask it. I
So-
behaved.
I know.
Wait, say what?
When Chip's like, "Hey, man," Ryan asked me a question. I'm like, "Holy fuck, he asked it!"
Oh,
you know?
shit.
What are you guys talking about?
My question was gonna be: has
Ryan
anybody
was gonna
ever
ask- go
popped
ahead,
a
Ryan, Go
boner
ahead.
during a match?
Oh Jesus!
A fearection.
Well, the
That's funny.
next time we have Chip on the show, it'll be his third time. He's no longer a virgin to the show, so I'll pull the Band-Aid off that one for you, Ryan.
Also, I'm gonna come in hot too. You just gotta remind me.
God. So, and we've got Alex Coates coming on the show. He is the director of driver development, I believe, for a professional go-karting organization. So I'm pretty interested to see what they have. It's basically like NASCAR but for go-karts. So we'll have him on the
I
show.
wish it was like-
soon.
I believe he's a Sox fan too.
He is a Sox fan. He is a
So-
Sox fan.
Oh,
I
I'm
wish
sorry.
it was something
I was just
more along the
vomiting.
lines of like a real life Mario Kart. Like, where you
That's
get to throw shit at
cool.
the other drivers.
That'd
Pretty
be sweet.
badass.
And you get
Imagine
to take
driving a
shrooms.
go-kart.
He's coming on what
You
day?
just take shrooms and go karting.
I don't know. I gotta look at my calendar.
Okay.
Not next week. I think it's 2 weeks from today. Not
Okay.
next Tuesday. The following Tuesday, I believe. I'll have to look at the calendar. But and then we still got Brad Carey coming on from the NFA. That'd be cool because I know you'll like that chat, Rick, a lot because he's a big fight guy. Big fight guy.
Looking forward to it.
So don't forget, guys, we do have the merchandise live is on the website. We've got shirts, hoodies, beer steins, coffee mugs, koozies, all that fun stuff. They're working on hats for everybody, so this way we can all be looking fly like Rick.
I don't wear
Sure.
hats.
Sure.
It got quiet for a minute.
I wasn't sure if my
what's the
shit
joke?
froze.
Oh,
No.
I just saw him
or I was,
staring. I'm like,
I was like, oh shit, we got to the end of the show. So, all right, boys. So this weekend, 4th of July weekend, we're not going to record on Tuesday or on Friday. We'll take the weekend off for
Is
the
that this
holiday.
weekend?
That is this
No,
weekend.
it's
Monday.
Monday. or
Monday.
Tuesday?
It is Monday.
Jesus.
Monday.
Criminy.
Mark.
So, but Mark, I know Rick's got to treat his baby mama good for her birthday all weekend, and I figured
Yeah.
we'll celebrate the holiday and just take
Treat
it
her
off.
Today-
real
Back
good.
next Tuesday.
Actually, today is actually her birthday, so happy
Oh,
birthday.
happy
baby.
birthday,
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Bethany Horn.
Mrs. Horn.
I was like, shit, I just gave out her last name, but it's on your Zoom profile, so I don't feel as bad now.
Yeah.
So, butthole pictures to @Rick Horn.
All butthole pictures.
Horn.
It's a good thing I don't have Twitter.
But his Facebook instant messages are open.
Yeah.
Can we talk about something
Yeah, they are.
before
Yeah,
we
yeah,
go?
they are. What? Okay, what, Ryan?
What if
Angels
this is about pictures
reliever
now?
Archie Bradley broke his elbow falling out of the dugout during the big old dust up in California.
I'm just glad you called him a reliever this time and
Yeah, not a
receiver.
receiver. Well, listen, marijuana. Blah.
I didn't see the fight. I just heard about it.
It was a good one. It was the first good fight, baseball fight in a long while. There was punches thrown. A coach
12
ended up on the
suspensions, I think?
ground. Yeah.
Ooh.
One of the suspensions was a interpreter.
Shut
Oh,
up.
jeez.
He got 2 games, I think.
That's funny.
They should trade baseball fights like they do hockey fights.
I've been
Don't
saying
look
that
at
for
football.
years.
So, did you guys get the Deshaun Watson update? I saw this 27 minutes ago. It says NFL leaks that it's more likely to accept Judge Robinson's ruling on Deshaun Watson if she suspends him 6 to 8 games.
So what I've
I-
heard there is that the NFL, because they're worried about stuff coming out in discovery and the legal system, and they don't want to like another PR disaster on their hands, they're looking at an indefinite suspension. And I know that there was something to do with that where Deshaun's team would come back with, no games because whatever, hey, and then they would accept 8 games, which I think is bullshit. I think he should get a full year. I'm more on board with the discovery section, because to me the fact that there are women and now Texans are involved in the lawsuits as well.
Yeah, but the whole woman thing is not clear yet. There's still women out there that have not settled yet. So this is
That's
still
what I was
ongoing.
going to say
Yeah.
is the fact that there are some that did not take settlement and want to take this to court. I would have to imagine they probably at least have some really good evidence
Mhm.
for something, and
And
there
they
could
don't
be
want the
some
money,
stuff
yep.
coming out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're right.
Letting something like this go when you're not gonna vote to oust basically a really rich pimp that owns one of your teams. Like, these two stories going together like this is just not a great look for the NFL.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't
We're
laugh.
talking about the NFL, dude.
Huh?
Like, that's the NFL though.
Yeah, I know.
They are a
but
PR nightmare.
That's true.
Jesus.
Anywho, I saw Rick was looking for another team. Nashville will always accept you.
Yeah, so I
He's
talked
actually
about
going to
this
be
in-
a Washington Commanders fan.
I did see that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Did you guys
now,
see that
if-
meme where
There's one exception. If they change their name back to Redskins, but just change the logo to a potato,
I think that's a better idea, to be honest.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm
Think
gonna
about
mash
the memes,
these
like-
boys.
You get a sack on the opposing quarterback that's mashed potatoes.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You intercept the ball like hot potato. You sign Josh Gordon baked potato. You know what I'm saying?
I'm into it now. I was really.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You might have something right there, man. I like
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
Dude, this could be a gold mine.
All I'm saying though is.
They'd get sued by the state of Idaho.
Bear down, Chicago Bears.
Bum bum. Did you see that mock
I'll
draft?
say
I was
this,
picking
though.
number 2.
Hey, whatever.
I can't wait to start
I'll
talking
say this.
college football.
I just can't
If-
wait for college football because that means fall is here and hell months are done.
Fucking true.
I hate
Go ahead,
summer.
Rick. What were you saying?
Summer's the
As these
worst.
assholes continue to cut you off.
No, that's all good. I was just gonna say, like, yeah, with the Texans like now being involved in lawsuit, and I've kind of flirted with this idea a little bit. But man, like the little bit of thread that I have left, like the only reason I started rooting for the Texans was because the Rams left St. Louis, and I'm sorry, but fuck Stan Kroenke. And
Woo.
you know, I grew up in Texas for the most part, but I was never, you could never, with a gun pointed to my head, you could never get me to root for the Cowboys. So the Texans just kind of became a thing by default. But man, like they're getting harder and harder to.
But who played
I have
in
no-
Texas before and then moved to Nashville? You can come
uh,
join
the,
her,
now
Rick.
the Tennessee.
The
Yeah.
original.
Come on, Rick.
So
They're
here
the
in no
original.
particular order, with exception of this first one that I'm going to mention. These are like the teams that I'm considering. The top one that I am considering switching to would be the Seattle Seahawks, simply because, again, you hear me pound the drum about how I love the Seattle sports market. It's my second favorite sports market in the entire country. I think that it's, and I love Washington. I love, the entire time, my first 6 years in the Navy, living up there in Washington. So that'd be my top pick. The rest of these are kind of not in order. So I would say the Titans simply, but it's not because of that reason that you mentioned. I think Tennessee's kind of a big thing for me is having a connection, to like some type of personal connection to the team, that I'm rooting for. So the Titans would kind of be a dark horse candidate simply because that's like a dark horse candidate for me as to, where I eventually want to end up after I retire out of the Navy. So the Titans would be up there.
Plus, you stay in the division, though.
Yeah, true.
Mhm.
True.
And Nashville's just a dope ass city.
Yeah, see, look at
Yeah.
that, man.
Brian, shut
And,
up. Chicago's one of the options.
Oh, it's not as good as Chicago
And Chicago's a shithole, but then again, so is St. Louis.
though.
But
Don't get me
anyway,
started on St. Louis rants.
Yeah,
Fucking hate that town.
I love that town, but I also hate it. But anyway, Chicago would be up there, crazily enough. Although, as a St. Louis guy, like my skin kind of crawls at the idea of like rooting for a Chicago team.
It's either Chicago
They
team
would-
or Stan Kroenke's team.
Well, man, you got a point. I can't argue with you there.
Chicago is at
Okay.
least far enough, and it's in another state. Your other option in the area would be the Chiefs, and any true
That's a
St.
damn-
Louisian,
St. Louis. Louis.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah, that
Maybe
would,
if
yeah,
you're an
so-
Alton scrub or a Belleville biscuit,
So I do want to
you
hear
Yeah,
could,
Belleville
you
biscuit.
could
Rick's
be a
other
Chiefs
teams.
fan.
I do.
Yeah, let him finish
So
so we
I
can get
would
out of
say-
here.
So Seattle, Tennessee, Chicago, dare I say Jacksonville? I mean, just because I'm already like getting into all their
Yeah.
minor league teams, I'm like fully
see it.
invested. In
You're
all of
used
their
to
minor-
losing, so like
I'm used to losing. You know what I'm saying?
Ryan's coming in hot,
And then-
dude. Fucking Chip Walker leaves, and then you get
All of
fucking.
a sudden, Ryan
and
found some
then-
goddamn confidence.
Yeah, you got the Road Warrior coming now.
I'm just really baked.
What do we got? We got Seattle, Chicago, Tennessee, Jacksonville, and I would say Tampa just because I like Florida Tom.
Florida
Um,
Tom's the best Tom of
oh,
all
yeah,
the
I like Florida
Toms.
Towns.
And honorable mention, the Raiders, simply because I've only, in my entire 31 years on this earth, I've only met one person who is actually legitimately from Las Vegas. So just completely throw caution to the wind.
Okay, here's my thing. Rick does not have a Twitter. How about we let the fans decide on this? We put a vote on it.
Yeah, you have to root for that
Well,
team
hold
for
on.
a whole year.
Well,
Well,
no,
now,
we'll
hold
do
on.
it. We'll
No,
do
no,
a
no, no.
final three though. He gets to pick out of the final three, but he mentioned 5 teams. We'll have fans vote for the final three, and then he gets to choose out of the 3.
I will say this:
Live
Seattle,
on a show.
Seattle will be in that final 3 regardless, like because they're the clear-cut number 1 for me right now.
Not if the
So,
fans don't want it.
I can give a shit less what the fans want.
I,
So you
He's
can
I,
pick,
lying.
like-
He's kidding. He cares. We all care.
I do. I care. We all care. I do care. But you could pick.
I'm
like,
not gonna lie
here's
to
the-
you. I care to be honest. I don't care about you people, but I care enough to not lie to you. It's the Capronica
Okay.
guarantee.
look
Alright,
at, look,
so-
look at how he looks in the camera.
We are going to. We'll put the poll on Twitter. Okay. We will run the poll on Twitter, pinned at the top of our Twitter page, until the first preseason game. The first show we have after that poll ends, Rick,
It's
you will have a
commitment day.
decision to make.
Commitment day. I want a hat, and you have to make a commitment.
I'm just like tossing this around as like a possibility. I haven't fully said like, hey, I'm jumping ship this shit.
We're
You know
doing
what?
it.
I said-
It doesn't matter.
I think it's a
We're
good
taking
idea.
over your
Let's do
life.
it.
I think
Here's
this-
my thing.
And it's actually
Here's
being
my thing.
recorded. so
Rick,
it's
if you
happening.
think about this, we're all your bosses. We're all Americans, American citizens. We're civilians, okay? We pay your salary.
This is true.
This is an order from the people you're sworn to protect. Look at me. I'm looking in the camera. This is happening.
Well,
Here's my thing. You have to sell it to me. I'm happy to listen to whatever votes. Sell it to me. Don't just, oh, well, I said you should vote for these, for this, or you should root for this team. Therefore, you got to root for this team.
All right, so
Sell
here's
the
what
team
we'll
to
do.
me.
We'll put the teams out there. Top 3. I take a team. Rob
Yes,
takes a
I
team.
love it.
Ryan takes a team. We
Yes.
all pitch that team to you,
Yes.
and you have to make a decision.
Yes, into it.
Okay.
I love that idea.
See, he agreed on
all right.
live.
But Seattle will be one of those top 3. I'm just letting you know.
That's
I
fine.
don't know.
Also,
It's
before we go real
the
quick,
the top 2 of the top 3 are going to be the Los Angeles Rams and the Kansas City
No,
Chiefs.
no. Time out. It can, like, there are certain teams I will not root for.
Green Bay
will
oh,
not
it's
Packers.
gonna be number 1, baby.
That's a waste. That's a vote wasted. That's like rooting for Kermit the Frog for president. You know what I'm
Which
saying?
wouldn't be necessarily well.
I totally can see
Well,
the Seahawks, the Titans, and the Jaguars
Hey.
being the final 3.
Rick, I heard something
Yeah.
today. The Navy has trained dolphins.
We do with laser beams on their heads. Yep.
No. Trained dolphins to detect like underwater missiles and like swimmers trying to get close to ships to put like bombs and stuff on that.
That would be. So I think the whole I mean, I guess it's possible, but for you to get close enough to a ship to do something like that, like you have to understand like what type of a miracle like you have to pull off, like especially if you're like going towards like a carrier air wing where you have like the carrier, the destroyers, the cruisers, and all of that, not to mention like an entire flight deck like full of like airborne like early warning aircraft, where they're like where they can check out like the not only what type of surface or air contacts are so many miles out, but they can also pick up like shit what the weather, or you have
What
like,
if
certain
you a
helicopters
mermaid
that-
though?
Ooh.
Well, that's true.
Or man?
But
First
then,
of all-
but then who would the
First of
dolphin?
all-
Hold on, who would the dolphin work for? The merman, mermaid, or the United
Man,
States government?
dolphins are sneaky.
Hold
They'll
on.
work for whoever's
I'm
paying
trying
the
to wonder
most.
what the
Hold
fuck
on.
is Blake plotting?
Time out. You insensitive cucks. It's a
Whoa.
merthey, okay?
I said merperson.
No, it's a merthey.
No, when you're talking about a group of them, they, person. A mer being.
A
We're
merthey.
getting silenced. We're getting
Yeah, we're
silenced.
gonna get canceled.
It's practice.
All right. Anyways, that's all the time we have for tonight. Everybody, we appreciate you guys. Everybody have a safe and a happy 4th of July. Thank you, Rick, for your service. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank
If
you.
you guys are going to fireworks this weekend, please be safe. You can drink. Please don't drive. Thanks,
Burn
guys.
everything.
See you next time. Jesus.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye, guys.